Okay, for our first design, we're going to paint a mushroom with a frog sitting on top. This is a great design to start with and talk about placement and flow. Generally speaking, for placement, I like to look for this centrally located spot here. It's on the cheekbone, between the ear and the nose, below the eye. So for our mushroom, we're going to try to aim to put the mushroom cap there. And then as far as flow goes, we're going to try to follow the contours of my face here with this cheekbone and the hollow of my cheek. So we're going to have the stem of the mushroom come down and the frog sitting up on the top, kind of off center back in here. Okay, so I'm going to start with some Kryolan white. This is a nice powdery, just a light white paint that we can put down as a good kind of base color for this mushroom. It's also a great tool to use when you're trying to block out a shape for something you're painting on the cheek. It's a trick I use for lots of new designs or maybe a character I'm not super familiar with. So we start with that Kryolan white just to give us the shape of our mushroom cap. And I'm going to bring the stem down. Again, I'm giving it just a little bit of a curve because I'm trying to encourage a certain flow, kind of following the shape of my cheek and the hollow of my cheek. So I've got my mushroom down, and now I'm going to switch to, this is a 2/3 inch brush with some color there. I'm going to go ahead and put the cap of the mushroom on, just a nice sweep. Okay, and next we're gonna use the same brush. I've loaded it with some green for our little frog. Again, he's off center a little bit because I want him to go with the flow of this design. He's also off over the side over here because I want to make sure I have room. I'm not crowding him into too close to the eye there. So we have a little green body and two little legs here. And that's our little frog. Okay, and the next step, we're going to take our number 4 round with some waxy white. This white is going to contrast with that Kryolan white I already laid down. And we're going to add some highlights and some additional details. So this is the skirt or ring of the mushroom. It starts where the stem meets the cap, and it's just kind of a middle section of this mushroom. And you can see that waxy white gives us some contrast against the Kryolan white. Put a little highlight down here towards the bottom. We'll put some dots on our mushroom. Do some big dots and some little dots and kind of vary it up. Okay, and you can see that there's a flow to this shape between the top of the frog and the stem of the mushroom. There's sort of a curvature happening when we've put these elements together. And that's the flow I keep talking about. We want it to sort of fit on the face nicely. Okay, and then I'm going to add some highlight. For the highlight, I want it to come from across my face. When you do highlights on things, you are going to want to make sure that you keep it consistent across your whole design. I'm going to put a couple little eyeballs on my frog there, and then continue with that highlight, again coming from the same direction. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and start with an outline. We're going to use, this is a liner 0 with some black on there. And I want this outline to be very light, not heavy-handed at all. If you get too heavy-handed with your outline, you can really detract from your design or make it kind of look muddy. And so we want to keep this one pretty light. I'm going to outline that little ring or skirt on our mushroom. So for this design, the bottom of that mushroom that's going to have the gills in it and the top of it around the cap there, they're basically kind of two nested little oval shapes. You see they kind of meet together at the end there. Something that sort of helps me when I'm outlining it. I'm going to go ahead and put the little gills in here for this mushroom. Now this, I'm barely putting any pressure on this brush. I do want these lines to stay very fine. I don't want them to be too heavy-handed. So our mushroom's outlined, and now we're going to outline our little frog. Sometimes we will use googly eyes. That can be really fun for this design if you have them small enough. Another fun option for this guy, we've painted him in neon, like neon colors, and then he glows under the black light, which is really fun. You can also add, if you want, maybe a cute hat for him. Or if you want to put like a little kissy face on him. I'm going to just put a smile on this little frog. But this is just a place where you can really get creative and sort of modify this for whatever you like. Okay, so finish my outline here, and could add a little bit of white to the eyeballs on that frog and maybe a couple little starbursts, and you could be done with this design if you wanted to. If you're in a hurry and wanting to kind of keep it just sort of light and easy and neat. For today, I'm going to go ahead and keep going. I'm going to add a couple more elements here to really make this pop. And the first part of that is I've got my liner 0 brush again. I've loaded it with more waxy white. And I'm just going to go in and lay in another outline just to make this design really pop. You don't want this outline to be very heavy-handed. Again, it needs to just continue to be kind of light. You don't want it to overwhelm that black. I apologize for the speed here. I am definitely slower at painting on myself. This definitely goes a lot faster when I have someone in my chair that I'm painting. And speed for these kinds of delicate, lines that you're painting will come with lots of practice and muscle memory and just good overall technique with the brush. Okay, so as I'm finishing up here with my outline and the little highlights here, this could again be done. We could put, some little stars or some swirls with the white just to sort of round it out, add some glitter, and that could be your final design. Again, I'm going for kind of a graffiti look here, sort of just something that's going to have more of a color pop to it. So I've chosen a turquoise and with a number 4 round, so a bigger brush. I'm just going to lay in a turquoise outline just to sort of soften it a little bit and again make it just really pop off the face. I'm going to add a couple of little splashes of color to sort of give it that graffiti or spray paint sort of look as well. You can see there in the corner I did get a little close to the eye. Just something to think about when you're placing your design, how big it might end up growing. And we're almost done here. You can see I have sort of a subtle S shape happening that flows with the face. That little off-center frog creates sort of an arch with the bottom of the mushroom. And just to accentuate that, I'm kind of placing my little color blobs here. I'm just laying the brush down to put some color down to give it sort of that spray paint look. But I'm doing that with an eye of continuing the flow of this overall design, so that the final, product looks congruent and looks nice. All right, and there we are. We've got that completed design. I'm just going to add some glitter real quick. This is a bright purple from Vivid Glitter. It's just a loose glitter. And the purple really pops against that turquoise and complements the overall color scheme I have here. Okay, and then we're all done. We've got our completed design with our cute little frog and mushroom. I hope you like it.